الله ربي واحد وأنا بذلك أشهد ذا مبدئي وأصوله بالرغم ممن يجحد الله ربي واحد وأنا بذلك
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. إن خير الكلام كلام الله عز وجل، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. To proceed, we see that every single human being on this earthly existence, and I mean every single human being, is aggressively, I repeat, aggressively searching for happiness. And they hope to achieve this happiness at the expense of everything that she or he owns. The problem is, happiness is a phrase where the majority of people have failed to either explain or define. To the rich people, those who have a lot of money, they believe happiness is in health and wealth in real estate. While the poor among us, they believe happiness is in accumulating as much money possible. The politicians believe that happiness is in achieving their political ambitions or objectives, while making injustice look like justice, lying most of the time. While the one that is in love, happiness to this person is in the reunion with his beloved, and definitely infatuation. But what is happiness? Everyone differs. Everyone believes it's in such and such. Ultimate happiness can only come from one and no other. Ultimate happiness is definitely from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want to be happy? There is only one way to ever be happy. Not only in this existence, but in the life to come. And that is to establish a connection, your heart, to establish this heart of yours with the one that created it. And wallahi, as long as you connect your heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you establish a golden chain, an unbreakable chain, a powerful connection with the one that you love most, you will be the happiest person on earth. No more sorrow, no more sadness, no more depression. You will be happy. in every step that you take. Hence, once you achieve this golden chain, this transitional stage that we are currently living in becomes secondary, becomes nothing. This life, this low deceiving materialistic life becomes no big deal. If I have it, alhamdulillah, and if I don't, alhamdulillah. That will be your attitude. Because once you connect yourself to the one that you love most, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know whatever Allah has given you is meant for you. And that which He has not given you is not meant for you. So you are content. You are happy. Look at the great Shaykh al-Islam, Ahmad ibn Abd al-Halim. Allahu Akbar. What an ocean. What a mountain of knowledge. What an individual. He lived on this earth with no place to call home, no family, no wealth, no position. He had a little room that he would stay in, adjoining to the central masjid. Enough food to keep him going, so his back can remain straight. And he had only a few garments that he would wear. Yet, we all know his golden statement. This is a man that had nothing except one thing. And what was that thing, Ya Khalid? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He had the connection between himself and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which prevented him from any kind of satanic or demonic intervention. Always content and happy. This is why he said his golden statement. In my breast, in my chest, is always Jannah, paradise. Wherever I go, it follows me. Subhanallah. Do you understand his statement? In my breast, in my chest, is paradise. Wherever I go, whatever I do, wherever I travel, it follows me. Can you imagine the sweetness of life if you incorporate this in your mind, in your heart, in your life? It's like having Jannah in this dunya, as well as the akhirah, insha'Allah Khaliq Azza wa Jalla. Because he said that whoever does not taste the sweetness of Jannah in this dunya will never taste the sweetness of Jannah in the akhirah. This is what he said. What does this mean? Meaning the only sweetness that you can really achieve in this life is the sweetness of belief. The sweetness of that connection between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And once you achieve this sweetness, it is like you have already achieved a part of Jannah in your life. Because the contentment and the satisfaction reflects on this belief. So he said that in my chest is Jannah. Wherever I go, it follows me. If they imprison me, he said, okay, big deal. For indeed, imprisonment to me is no more than a religious, peaceful seclusion. Subhanallah, that's what imprisonment to him was. That is what it was to this great man. He said, if they execute me, big deal. It's martyrdom. What better way to die? The most honorable status. And then he said, if they banish me, exile me from my land, it is no more than a spiritual journey. Do you live like that for it? Alhamdulillah, how beautiful. Do you feel that greatness, that happiness, that contentment in life? Allahu Akbar. See, such sentiments, such action and belief can only come from a man like him. And anyone that follows this path, because the tree of taqwa, the tree of iman, the tree of righteousness and piety has firm and solid roots in this morsel, the greatest morsel in your body, the heart. So when your iman and taqwa have deep roots in the most innermost regions, the most depths of your heart, how in the world can anyone make you unhappy? How in the world can anything make you unhappy? It's impossible. Due to the connection, this golden chain that you have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at Prophet Yunus, alayhi salam. He found happiness in where? Not in eating or drinking or assets, no. He found happiness while in 3 levels of darkness. How many levels, Mustafa? 3 levels. The darkness of the night, darkness of the sea, and the darkness of the belly of the whale. The belly of the whale. See, he knew when all hopes were dashed, were obliterated, he never ever gave up. Although all his hopes were gone, he never gave up from one hope. Which was your holy? The hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he felt happiness in crying out to his Lord. فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنْتَ سُبْحَانَكَ إِنِّي كُنْتُ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Crying out to his Lord in the darknesses, "Oh Allah, you are the only deity worthy of worship. Glory be to you. I was one of the wrongdoers." He found happiness in turning to his Lord and no other. And hence we know the story. Look at Musa alayhi salam. Where did he find happiness? Again, in the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala underneath the gigantic, humongous, powerful waves. When the sea split in half. When the children of Israel were going bonkers, crazy, ballistic, he found happiness in turning to Allah, telling them, "Go forth, for indeed Allah will guide me. Don't worry." See, that's where happiness lies. That's where happiness comes. When your connection with Allah Ta'ala is strong. If you have no connection, no golden chain, you are never happy. You can never be happy. No matter how much you say you are not. It's called false happiness. No matter how much money you have, assets you have, things you haven't got Allah, you have nothing. Look at our beloved teacher. Who's our beloved teacher? Yeah, that's right. Allahu Akbar. Our leader, our messenger, our mentor. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Abdul Muttalib ibn Hashim ibn Abdul Manaf ibn Qusay al-Qurashi. Allahu Akbar. In the cave with Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And what a great companion to be with. Allahu Akbar. Have you got a companion as good as Abu Bakr as-Siddiq? Why not? Impossible. Impossible. So while in the cave with Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, surrounded by swords of kufr, surrounded by swords of aggression and oppression, of dhulm, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq got terrified, petrified. And he called out to Rasulullah, "Ya Rasulullah, if one of them were to look underneath his feet, they are sure to see us. They will hurt you." He wasn't scared for himself. He was scared for his partner. But who is his partner? Who is his partner? It's not, a Joe Blow Muslim who has trouble waking up for Fajr. No. It's not a person who has trouble keeping away from cigarettes. It's not an individual that sleeps on Foxtel day and night. No. His companion was the companion, the friend, the leader of righteousness. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, in a state of severity and fear for him, how was Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when Abu Bakr said that to him? He looked at Abu Bakr with a smile. And don't forget the swords of kufr surround him. The swords that are seeking the blood of Rasulullah sallallahu. Anyone that grabs him, kills him, receives 100 camels and beyond. And they were out to get him. He smiles to Abu Bakr and says to Abu Bakr, "Yeah, Abu Bakr, what shall make you think of two men, himself and Abu Bakr? The third of whom is Allah." What a connection! What a powerful entity! What a powerful morsel! See the strength that connection can have in your life? See the power that Islam can give you? See the ability that it can deliver for you? Wallahi, if you don't have this, you won't have that. What shall you think, Abu Bakr, of two men? We're not by ourselves. Allah is the third of us. Don't be scared. لا تحزن إن الله معنا. Grieve not, fear not. Indeed, Allah is with us. The power of Islam. The power of Iman. May Allah place it in our hearts. Prophet Yusuf, alayhi salam, in jail, he found happiness in Allah while in the dungeon, in the gulag, for a crime he did not even commit. For a crime he did not even commit. And despite being far from his beloved father, Yaqub, far from his beloved land, chained in a dungeon, in a cell, he still found and seized the opportunity in doing da'wah, and that is what made him happy, content and satisfied. It brought joy, comfort, contentment to his heart in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It made him happy. It made him forget where he is. Because when you're with Allah ta'ala, no matter where they place you, no matter where you go, you're always happy. No matter how you feel, how you are, in what condition you are, if you have that connection with Allah, you are never, ever unhappy. Because Allah is always with you. It's the power of Iman, the power of Islam, the power of taqwa, the power of that golden chain between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said to his companions in jail, "Ya sahibi al-shizm, أأرباب متفرقون خير أم الله الواحد القهار?" Our companions of this prison, are numerous gods better than Allah, the one, the all-powerful? You know, when people go to jail today, or wherever they may be, they feel depressed and stressed and they go crazy, even maybe insane. Don't forget, whatever happens to you is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's only an examination for you. Don't forget what you do and how you do it is all due to what your heart contains. And subhanAllah, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was once resting under the shade of a tree. He put his sword on a branch, far from his devout companions, no one around him, and just relaxed. We're talking about the leader of creation, the leader of the messengers, the leader of piety, relaxing underneath the shade of a tree, far from everyone. Which leader today would do this? Which leader has the guts to walk in the streets with no bodyguards? Which leader today has the ability to sit down and sleep underneath a tree. You know why? They haven't got the guts. You know why? Because they don't fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't know who Allah is. And due to their corruption, people are out there to get them. So, underneath this tree, a Meccan man approaches him, sees him, by the name of Fawad ibn or Shawad ibn al-Harith. And this Meccan was an avowed enemy of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He did not like him. He saw his golden opportunity to destroy Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But who is he trying to destroy here? Who? John or Alfred? No! Can he destroy a man whose heart is extremely connected to Allah? No, he cannot. And even if he does, alhamdulillah. So he approaches Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam quietly with an unsheathed sword, a drawn out sword, holding it in front of him. He gets close to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, "Ya Muhammad!" Awakens Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Who is going to save you from me today?" Allah. Would you get scared? Would you get scared? Would you? Why? Take your sword. What can it do to you? Okay. Say. Does it really kill you? Don't you want to get? Don't you want to go to Allah Ta'ala? So what are you worried about? He said, "Who will save you today from me?" And Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, calm, tranquil, serenity, solace, fearless, as though nothing is in front of him, and yet a sword is pointing to him. He said with a soft voice, "Allah, who is going to save you from me?" What do you say? Allah. Allah will save me from you. And the man reacted strangely, dumbfounded, shocked at the response of this great man. Suddenly, his hands began to shake. Whose hands? Rasulullah's hands? Showed off his hands. And unconsciously, the sword fell down. Who saved him from him? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The sword fell down. Rasulullah got up, calmly, not rushed, and grabbed the sword. No. Got up, picked up the sword, and said, "Who's going to save you?" And as a report does say, unconfirmed, the man said, "Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah." The power of Islam, the power of Islam is unbelievable. The power of la ilaha illallah, if you implant it with solid, firm, powerful roots, is unlike anything else. But we're going to believe in this. We're going to believe in this. Look at Ibrahim alayhi salam, the father of prophets, the one-man nation, ummatan qa'imah, by himself, a nation who fought against all odds, his complete people. When they put him on the catapult, what's a catapult? Yeah, you know what a slingshot is? You know the rocks we use for slingshots? To flick the rock. This is to flick the people. So the catapult was made for him. And that's when it was introduced. And the man that actually introduced the catapult, as we speak, is being drowned into the earth. He was swallowed by the earth. Allah made him get swallowed by the earth. So he was placed on the catapult and flooded into the air. Did he get scared? Did he get unhappy? He found happiness in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jibril comes to him and says, "Ya Ibrahim, can I help you? Can I save you?" And don't forget, Jibril was not one wing or two wing. But all his wings covered the whole horizon. 600 wings. With one corner of his wing, it would turn the earth upside down, as mentioned in the hadith. Ya Ibrahim, can I help you? Just before he hit the fire. He goes, from you, no. Look at the connection. Look at the strength. Look at the power of that golden chain between you and Allah Ta'ala. From you, no. From Allah, yes. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. He is sufficient for me. And He is the best of guardians. This is the meaning, again, of really connecting your heart with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Wallahi, nothing can hurt you. Nothing can make you unhappy. Nothing can bother you or worry you. Loss of wealth, loss of life, loss of assets. Nothing. Look at Hajar. Who's Hajar, Khalid? Ibrahim's wife. What a couple, huh? A man like him and a wife like her, together. What an absolute golden marriage. Allahu Akbar. When he placed her where? Where did he place her? Usama? Did he place her in Lebanon or Syria? In Saudi. What's a Saudi? There was no such thing as Saudi those days. That's a name that was created in the last couple of generations. I don't even call it Saudi. It's the Arabian Peninsula. That's the real name for it. Because Saudi is from the monarchy that exists today. So he placed her with his beloved child. Ishaq, was it? Come in. Which was her child? Which child did he live with her? Ismail. Her and Ismail in a barren, lifeless valley. No life, no water, no animals, no people, nothing but dry soil. Now when he placed her there, he went away from her. Turned his back, didn't speak to her. Didn't say, we're going, because we're going to be there for a few days, we've got to go there for that reason. She didn't question him. She never questioned him as to where we're going, why we're going, for how long we're going. Is anyone going to be there? Nothing. A righteous, pious wife that believes in what her husband is doing is good. So he placed her there with a meager, iota amount of food and water. A little bit. Probably for a day or two. Turned his back and started walking back to Palestine. She looked at him, and only then, Ya Ibrahim, where are you going? How can you leave us here in this place? Then she asked him. He did not answer her. Ya Ibrahim, Allahu amaraka bihada. Look at the question she asked. Didn't you yell him, cry out loud, scream? Has Allah commanded you to do this? She wanted reassurance. She wanted security. And one word he said, nah, Allah commanded me to do this. And Allah will never abandon us, she said. Wow. She found happiness and joy, gratification in Allah's command. She walked back to the valley, and we know the story. Again, it's the connection. It's the power of that connection that protects an individual. Asya. Who's Asya? Who? Wife of Pharaoh. Which Pharaoh? Who's Pharaoh? Is he a good man? Really? What did he do? The ruthless, relentless, evil, wicked, tyrannical Pharaoh. While she was being flogged by the soldiers, she was smiling. She was what? Smiling. And subhanAllah, she's being whipped and whipped and whipped, and yet she has a smile on her face. It's the connection. So much so that the soldiers were absolutely flabbergasted, shocked. She's smiling, and we're whipping her. And then she calls out, Rabbi Midian, وَنَجِّنِي مِنْ فِرْعَوْنَ وَعَمَلِهِ وَنَجِّنِي مِنْ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. Look at his righteous woman. Look at his connection she had with Allah Ta'ala. Ya Allah, get rid of these people, this evil Pharaoh, these evil oppressors. Build me a house with you, Ya Allah. I want to live with you. I don't want the palaces. I don't want the servants. I don't want the gold. I don't want the clothes. I don't want what a queen has. I want the connection between me and you, a house with you. She chose Allah over the opulent lifestyle she had. And Allah Ta'ala took her soul, just boulder that Pharaoh had ordered to be placed to crush her chest. And as the narration mentions, that the heavens opened up for her and she saw her house. Do you want a house in this dunya? Do you really want a house in this dunya? In a haram way? In a halal way? No problem. But in a haram way. On riba, on unclean money. Honestly now. For how long are you going to own that house? How long? Can you ever own a house here? You cannot. Impossible. Your time here is limited. 1 day, 1 year, 10 years, you're going to die. And that house is staying back. And your kids won't even care about you. What did our father leave us? What did he leave us? That's all they care about. Wallahi. It's the nature of man. It's the nature of man. You know, you want something that's going to be eternal. You want what Asiya wanted. A house with Allah in Jannah. Now this is the connection that we can establish between ourselves and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm going to ask you a question. And answer to yourself. Now how do you feel? How do you feel after praying tahajjud at night? How do you feel after a long, hot summer day, fasting, and then you break your fast? How do you feel after praying Fajr on time, not after sunrise, no Fajr after that, it's called Duha, on time, and then you recite Quran from Fajr to sunrise, and then you pray Duha? How do you feel? Honestly, how do you feel? You know how you feel? You feel sweetness. You feel sugar. You feel beautiful. You're so happy that you did what Allah loves. That's the Iman, the power of Iman. Can you honestly say that this feeling can be purchased by the entire wealth of this earth? Can you go and buy this? Can you go to the shop and say to the shopkeeper, look, I'm interested in something but I can't find it anywhere in the shop. It's this inner happiness that I'm interested in. Have you got it? He goes, what inner happiness are you talking about? The inner happiness that I feel as I do when I fast throughout the day, or when I pray at night, or when I read the Quran. Have you got that? What's he going to say to you, Amen? Nothing. Of course not. Of course he hasn't got that. He can't sell you that. He can't sell you this sweetness. But it's not hard to achieve. You don't need $1 million. You don't even need 1 cent. You need the connection. You need true Iman, true taqwa. You really need to be faithful for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the only way you'll find this sweetness. And wallahi, when you establish this and you start performing this for the sake of Allah, you will find your life so strong, so beautiful, so sweet. You don't care about anything other than that. Wallahi. But on the other hand, in contrast, when you commit sin, how do you feel? So when you know a person commits sin, you know let's say he's on the internet. May Allah protect us from the internet. And he's on the internet. No one around him, and he does the haram by looking at shaitan. Okay? Let us per se. Be careful, brothers, be careful. Be careful. careful, brothers, and be careful, sisters. So when he looks at Shaitan and he commits the sin, how does he feel? Does he feel sweetness? How does he feel? He feels disgust after it's finished. What have I done? You say to yourself. You feel guilt. You feel distaste. You feel disgusted in yourself. How dare I did this? How could I do this? See the difference between the two? See the difference between connecting yourself to the devil and connecting yourself to Allah. This is the difference. When you connect yourself to Allah, sweetness. When you connect yourself to filth, you're going to get in return filth. And I'm pretty sure everyone that has committed sin has felt this guilt. After it's finished, you say to yourself, what have I done? Yuck. Really, I did this? How could I do that? And I'm pretty sure we've all experienced this. So knowing all this, knowing that sweetness lies in this path and not that path, what are we waiting for? What do we want in life? Do you want sugar or you want dirt? What do you want? You know, you're not going to be an angel. We're not angelic. We're not angels. We're not perfect. You will never, ever be able to be perfect. Understand that. We are weak, deficient. We do commit sin. It's our nature. But what we're trying to say here is diminish, decrease, work as much as you can against it. And that's what is asked of you. Don't just look at sin as no problem. It is a problem. Because once you let one in your life, another will follow. If you allow that one, another will follow. It becomes no problem. You become immune to it, as though it doesn't exist anymore. How many of us go in the streets today and look around, we see nakedness, nudeness out there. And that look no longer has become a problem to us. No longer a problem. You know what that is? It's a lack of iman. A lack of disconnection. Because in reality, we should feel disgusted when we see that noxious behavior outside. When we see people drinking alcohol, we should hate it inside, as the hadith says. If you can't stop with your hand, tongue, hate it with your heart. And that is the weakest of faith. So if we don't feel this hate, this disgust, it means your connection is weak. So you've got to reconnect this chain with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because out there is the biggest evidence of how we feel. If we feel when we see something bad that Allah does not like, we find it hard to look at it, to listen to it, to feel it. It's a good sign. So when you see something, ya astaghfirullah, what is that? Relative. When we see something that is drunk haram, how can these people do this? When we hear not just obscene and indecent, words, backbiting, slander, swearing, we feel disgusted. That's a sign of a strong connection. But if we ourselves, when we're dealing outside in transaction, we ourselves listen to the F word and say it, that is not a very good sign. Because you have become immune to it. You have become immune to this dirty, filthy, demonic attitude. You don't want to be immune in disgust. I mention an example of this problem, although it's a bit of a gross example, but it's very, very important to mention sometimes we understand it better. It's like a person who wants to go to the toilet. Go where? Ya Bilal? To the toilet. And he really needs to go to the toilet. It's a good example, listen carefully. And he can't but need to go to the toilet. So he waits in line. Public, filthy, disgusting toilets. especially when you go to the kafar toilet. So he's waiting in line, and his turn comes. When he enters the toilet, ya Kamal, as soon as he opens the door, Ya Latif! Puts his hand on his nose. Listen carefully. This is our situation in the dunya at the moment. A'udhu billah, stinks, he says to himself. And he puts his hand on his mouth, his nose, and he can't wait to get out of there. But he needs to go to that filthy, disgusting toilet. No choice. He can't do it in his pants. So he's in the toilet, relieving himself. Suddenly his hand, his fingers, what happens? It comes off. Why Ayman does it come off? Think about it. What happens? He gets immune to it. It no longer becomes, yeah, what a dirty smell. It's gone away. This life's exactly the same example. When we are giving an example, when I came from Saudi Arabia in 1997, 7 years of seeing nothing but black hijab from top to bottom. Don't hear the F word, don't hear the BS, don't say this negative eyes and this and music and this. 7 years of just haram, 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 meaning haram, Medina, not haram, haram prohibitions, but the haram. And then you step out of the aeroplane and you enter, when I entered the airport, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan ar-rajim. I said, what have I got myself into? You know, I need to wear big black glasses to get to the car. And next to me, this guy is telling this guy off and swearing and music and ladies and filth. I was so disgusted. I did not know where I was. You think you're in the land of the devil, of your surroundings. But why is it that we feel this? Because we're not immune to it. But once you live here and you become accustomed to it, unfortunately it becomes a normality. You become immune to it. And this is one thing you don't want to get immune to. And why a lot of brothers, or when they ask me, you live in the sticks, why would you go and live in the sticks? Why? Why would you live here? Why in the world would you live in the midst of demonic, satanic behavior? You're asking me why I live in the sticks? The only one I can see is the horses and the cows. What do you see? What do you see? I don't even answer that question. What do you hear? Don't even answer that question. You know, I prefer my kids, like little cookie burger there, to be brought up around sheep and goats and the sound of the rooster. Not the sound of F and B, S and F. I prefer those children to be brought up around animals, not around those that are less than animals, as Allah Ta'ala said. So this is one thing, brothers and sisters, we do not want to get immune to. So I'll repeat, it's the connection. Don't lose the connection, the golden chain between yourself and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the more you strengthen that golden chain, the more you understand the realization of this existence. The more you understand and connect yourself with Allah ta'ala, the more you know how much disgust and filth there is around us. Wallahi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all and safeguard us from this abominated behavior. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.